Here's a comment from Austin. Zero pressure on McVay and the Rams next year. Shanny will have the spotlight on him all next year, which I think is a great point, right? And I think Shanahan will bear the burden of the pressure more so even than Trey Lance because he picked him. He moved on from Garoppolo, and now it's about, can you develop this guy? He picked him over Justin Fields. He was told to take him instead of Mac Jones. So I think now that's good for Trey, that Kyle's going to have to wear a lot of that. But that's a great point. Like, the Rams now have broken through. And it doesn't matter that you beat them 6 times in a row, right? At one point. They beat you in the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl.
It's on, man. It's on like Donkey Kong. You're right. I mean, that's a great point on the Rams. They are, unless fucking Donald and McVay retire, they're going to be free and easy, playing with house money. They're going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of talk about like them going back to back.
Yeah, I agree.
Stafford's going to get a huge extension this offseason. I saw a headline this morning, which is, I mean, he's going into his last year of his contract. It's going to be big. I mean, what are they going to pay him? $40 million a year?
Well, what's he making right now? Because he's getting a raise, a minimum.
30-something plus. Makes a shitload.
Oh, remember this year? Wasn't this year low-ish?
Oh, yeah. It was like 20. Yeah, it was really cheap. He was like one of the best deals. He was the best deal in football.
Yeah.
Him and Jimmy had like the same salary.
Next year, he's got $23 million total cash in 2022.
They'll extend him, and that number will actually be smaller. You know how whenever the extension, that first year is always like really low, and it doesn't really like kick into like 3 years later.
It's like, oh, he's making $9 million this year, but in 2 years he's making $71 million.
Kroenke's going to have no problem. He's a Super Bowl champ. Think how much money he's going to give out this offseason. Isn't Aaron Donald probably going to want a contract extension? Sean McVay will get a contract extension. Matt Stafford's going to get a contract extension. They're going to sign so many guys, and this conversation is going to happen again. How do the Rams have all this money? They are going to sign, I bet, $350 million worth of contracts.
And then they'll sign Odell for like $500,000, $750 in September, in November.
And then there'll be like a random tweet from like Rap Sheet or Schefter, like, the Rams are sniffing around on Devontae Adams. You'll be like, what the fuck? How's this possible? Wait for that.
They're going to sign like Gronk?
I mean, I could see that.
I mean, if you're Gronk, you've always wanted to just be Tom's guy. But like, what if they said, come play for us? What if the Rams said, come play for us?
Can I show up in like October?
The Rams don't have a first, don't have a second, don't have a third. They do have a compensatory third. Don't have a fourth. Have a fifth, don't have a sixth this year. Next year, they don't have a first, but they have a second, a third. Don't have a fourth. Have a fifth, don't have a sixth. Oh, they have a second sixth, actually.
Remember how the Rams stopped sending guys to the combine like 3 or 4 years ago? It wouldn't shock me if like the Rams have just decided to not attend the combine at all. They will send nobody. Like Sean, Les Snead, no one will attend.
Well, how many years in a row have they traded a first-round pick? Like, how do we know they're not going to?
Well, I remember Field Yates did. It was like once this ends, it's going to be like 8 years
since they had a first.
Because I mean, there were a couple. It wasn't just the Jared Goff stuff. Remember, it was like Brandon Cooks. Marcus Peters. Like there were just different moments in there where it was like you forget about some of the players. This isn't going to stop either. They're going to.
No, why? Well, it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
It's worked the whole time, hasn't it?
It has. It has worked the whole time. But ultimately, like, if you're not going to quote unquote build for the future with first round picks, you do have to win the championship, and they did. They won the championship.